Hey guys, I said I was gonna do a video on uh, how I found out I was pregnant. I just finished taking out my hair, so excuse my hair. About to go wash it after I do this video. Basically, how I found out I was pregnant. Okay, so I met my boyfriend 2014, and he was really sweet and everything like that. But we were dating for like a week or something like that. And then, I don't know, his phone broke and he wasn't able to get into contact with me. But I thought it was like, I was actually starting to like him too. But then his phone broke and I was trying to text him and he wasn't writing back. So yeah, we didn't talk for, I didn't know that his phone broke. I didn't know what happened. A couple months later, he found me on Facebook and he added me. I was really just brushing him off like, any other boy. But we wasn't really like talking at first. We were friends. The thing I like about him is he was never about sex. He was never a sex guy. He really genuinely liked talking to me. Like we have good conversations. Like basically that's how I fell in love with him. We started dating July 31st, 2015. Then I went off to college. Point is, it was 1 week where I just didn't go to class. I went to my house. My mom was at her boyfriend's house this whole week, so I went to my house. John Mayer came, and it was just me and John Mayer in our house for a whole week having a whole bunch of sex. And that's how I got pregnant. Because like 2 weeks later, I was in school and I was feeling really crappy. I had diarrhea. I was feeling lightheaded and really faint. And my boyfriend was like, oh, maybe you're pregnant, like, and I was like, no, I don't think so. We always used to joke about me being pregnant, like, oh, you might be pregnant. Every time something happened, like, you might be pregnant. So I didn't really take it serious. I'm like, I don't know what it is. So I was like, I'll just go to the freaking nurse's office to be safe. So I went down to the nurse after class one day, and she was like, well, when was the first day of your last period? So I backtracked to that week before, that whole week that happened. And like my period had come on, my period was going off on that week. So, I remember the first day was November 16th. Yeah, November 16th was the first day of my last period. So she was like, okay, well, give it some time. Give it some time for your period to come on because I can't, even if you are pregnant, we can't tell until 4 weeks after the period thingy. So she did a pregnancy test. It came back negative. So she was like, come back in 2 weeks, December 18th, my mother's birthday. Come back on that day and get another pregnancy test to make sure. 2 weeks later, I go to the nurse's office, take the little, pee, urine thingy, take the urine sample to the nurse, and she comes back and she's like, you're pregnant. And I just felt like, I was like, what? Like, I don't know. My heart, like, I don't know. I just started shaking. I'm like, what? No, like, I didn't think she was really going to say that I was pregnant. It's good, but it's not good. But I was smiling at the same time because I was happy because it's John Mayer's baby. Like, I have the baby with somebody that I love, and I really kind of was having baby fever. I really wanted the baby. My nurse was talking to me, and she was like, well, is the baby's father in your life? Do you have any kind of support? What are you going to do about school? I said I was going to stay in school for the rest of the year and probably just go online. The next hard part, I told my boyfriend, I was texting him the whole time I was waiting for the test to come back. And I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. Like, we were both so nervous. And then when she told me I was pregnant, I texted him like, yep, I'm 4 weeks pregnant. And he was like, okay. And he was like, damn. And then he put all these emojis like, ah. But then he was excited at the same time. Mommy came and picked me up that day, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't tell her. Because the whole time that I was at school, my mom just kept telling me, please do not get pregnant. And, she knew that I was in a relationship too, so that was like her biggest fear. Like, she knew that me and him was having sex. Anyway, it was so hard for me to tell my mom. I wasn't able to tell her until I was maybe a month. I forget what it was that happened. It was something that happened that day that made me like, okay, I have to tell her right now, because if not, whatever. So like one night we was having dinner, and after we was done eating, we was just talking. There's something I have to tell you, and I need you to just listen and keep an open mind. I'm pregnant, and I don't want to give up the baby. I want to keep it. And she was like, well, that's not an option. That's the first thing she said. She was like, that's not an option. Like, she immediately shut it down. She was like, you're not keeping the baby. I'm like, what? It's my decision. It's my body. I feel like, I should be able to keep the baby. She was like, I'm telling you, like, she got really upset. Like, she wasn't, like, yelling at me, but I know my mom, and I know when she's upset. And she was like, you have so much ahead of you. A baby's going to stop all that. And she was just saying a lot of, basically she just wanted me to get an abortion. She was like, go to the women's clinic, get an abortion. I'm trying to tell you, I'm trying to help you out. Like, why won't you listen to me? I'm your mother. And I was trying to tell her, like, I understand that you're my mother and I love you. I respect your opinions. That's why it was so hard for me to tell you. But I'm not having an abortion. It got even harder because I wasn't able to go back to school because my tuition wasn't paid. My mom tried to pay it at the last minute, and they said, well, no, you would have had to pay it 2 weeks before. So there's nothing we can do. Joyla has to leave school. So I had to pack up all my shit in my dorm and leave that same day. I had 24 hours to leave. My mom was crying. She was devastated. Devastated, I tell you. Like, she was so happy when I got accepted to college. So my mom never cries, and she was crying. So, yeah, she was crying over that. And then the fact that I was pregnant was even worse, because she felt like now there's really no chance of me, having a future. But I was trying to explain to her that I have a plan. Like, it's not like it was back in her day. Fast forward a couple weeks, my mom was mad for a long time. She let me stay with her, but, I kept sneaking my boyfriend in because we didn't have any other place to see each other at. And it was wintertime, so it's not like we could go out places. So I kept sneaking him in my house. My mom really didn't like him, especially because she liked him at first, but now that she found out that he got me pregnant, she hated his guts. And every time that she caught him in my house, she caught him in my house like 5 times. And, not 5, like 3 times. And, we just kept doing it because we really didn't have no other choice. I mean, we did, but we wanted to see each other. We're in love. And I'm like, why can't you just let him? I mean, I'm already pregnant. What else? What other shenanigans can I get into, right? So I don't understand why she couldn't just let him. I don't know. That's something that I won't understand until I get older. But she got him in there a few times, and then one fateful day, one horrible day, we were both asleep in our bed. It was the middle of the day. My mom was at work, and we was taking a nap. Luckily, we had clothes on. But we was just, in bed taking a nap. All of a sudden, I wake up and I hear a man's voice. And I open my eyes, and my grandfather is standing in the door screaming at me, "Who's that nigga in your bed? Get the fuck up. Get the fuck up. Get the fuck out her bed." I had come to say hi to me or something, and then he's seen a nigga in my bed sleeping next to me. And he has to hurry up and get his clothes on and everything, and I'm trying to, I was mad because my grandfather was trying to get a gun out, like, and calling the police, like saying, "I'm gonna call the police on you. You got 10 minutes to get out of here. I'm calling the police." I'm like, yo, chill. Like, I didn't say nothing to him. I was mad at him. I was mad at my grandfather. I don't know why, because he didn't do anything wrong. I'm the one that was in the wrong, but I was mad at him. And I knew he called my mom and told her, like, yeah, some nigga was in her bed. Mind you, early that morning, she had just caught him sleeping in my bed. And she told him to get out, and he left. Then she went to work, and I told him to come back. So while she was at work, I told him to come back. So that made the situation even worse. The fact that after she just caught him, I had him back anyway. So that made him look disrespectful, and it made me look disrespectful. Anywho, I was really pissed, and I already knew that my mom was about to kick me out because I knew that was going to be the last straw. There was no way that she was letting me stay there after that. So I started packing the bag. He was getting dressed, but he was taking so long. And I'm like, can you hurry up? And he was like, all right, like putting on his socks and tying his shoes and putting on his pants and trying to find this. I'm like, can you hurry up? Like, do you not understand that my grandfather is out there fucking angry as shit, about to call the police on you, about to pull a gun out on you? Anyway, so my boyfriend left. I packed my bag, and my grandfather left, and then I left. My mom called me to tell me to get the fuck out, but I didn't answer the phone because I already knew what she was going to say. So I let her go to voicemail, and she left me a voicemail, and I never listened to it. Don't know what it says, but I'm pretty sure it says, you gotta leave. One step ahead of you. I called my best friend, and I asked her if I could stay at her house for like a couple weeks until I find a place to go. And she was like, yeah, of course, of course. So I went to her house. I stayed with her for a couple weeks. And my boyfriend's mom really likes me. So she told me, like, oh, I don't want you, you could always come stay with me, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, at first I didn't want to, like, I don't know. I just thought it would be weird because, living with your boyfriend's mom or whatever. And my boyfriend don't live with her. So it'll just be me and her. And I'm like, that's kind of awkward. But then I was like, you know what choice do I have? I don't want to go. Everybody was telling me to go to a homeless shelter. I'm like, fuck that. I'm not going to no fucking homeless shelter. That sounded scary to me. Like, I couldn't picture myself ever going to no shelter. So I'm like, well, it's either this or be sleeping out in the streets. Now, you might be thinking, like, what about your boyfriend? Like, he shouldn't be having you out there. Well, my boyfriend's homeless too, right? We're the worst people to be having a baby. He stayed in a homeless shelter before, but he went back to, he's living with his aunt, but then sometimes she'll get mad at him and kick him out, and then he'll go stay with his friend, and then he'll just go from house to house and stay there for like a month or two, and then go to a different house because they got mad at him and kicked him out. So it was no, and then at his aunt's house it was already overcrowded in that house, so there was no room for me to stay. I really had no choice but to stay with his mom. And, Jamir doesn't really get along with his mom. So, but, she let him stay there with me. So it was kind of nice. Eventually, they got into a fight and he left. And it was just me and her. But I was going out to see him a lot because he was staying with his aunt again. And, they let me come over and visit him, but I just can't live there. And, eventually, everybody, they were people were telling me about, like, the homeless shelter for pregnant girls isn't as bad as it sounds. And they were just telling me, like, they'll get you a house, they'll put you in a nice place because you're pregnant. So I was like, you know what, I'm tired of this whole situation. I'm not going to talk about that, living with her, but I love her and I appreciate her for everything that she did, but like, it was just a lot of drama, and I needed to I was like, you know what, I gotta get my own place. I can't do it living off of somebody else. I gotta do it my own way. So I bucked up and I went down to the homeless center. It was horrible there. It was stinky people. Then it was then it was normal girls like me that were just pregnant. There was other girls that had kids already that were getting abused. It was so many different type of people there. It was mentally ill women, old women. It was so many people there, but it's a homeless center. And I talked to somebody and I told him my situation, and the caseworker, and he was like, okay, I'm gonna put you in so and so, and it's like an emergency shelter where, for women, because the ones that were for pregnant women, the good ones, they were all booked up. That was the only open one. So, he put me there, and basically I went there that same day. So I got all my stuff, and my mom drove me over there. By this point, she was being a little more supportive of the baby, And, she was like, she started seeing him growing, becoming a person. Because before, she wouldn't even talk to me. She was so upset that I had chose not to get an abortion. She felt like that was me rebelling against her and not listening to her and trying to be grown and blah blah blah. But she doesn't see me as she still sees me as her kid, as her little baby. I'm her only child, so you can imagine. So, but eventually she came around, and now she's really excited for the baby. Um, all she talks about is her grandson, so she's really happy. But back then it was really our relationship. This it was really hard. But I went to the emergency shelter, and basically what happens there is like they put you with a roommate, and you get a bunk bed, and they have different rooms. That shelter actually wasn't that bad compared to other shelters where you're like sleeping on the floor and shit. This shelter was actually a pretty good shelter. It wasn't that bad. It was a pretty clean environment. There was a living room place where you could watch TV. You had to eat dinner. Dinner was like eating jail food. I really try not to eat their food, but like you don't have any choice. I had to start going to a work ready program because I was on welfare. I'm on welfare, and I had to put myself on welfare because my mom wasn't trying to give me any type of money. Because she said, since you're grown, you're gonna have to stand on your own 2 feet, so you have to find your own money. So I had to go to the welfare office, and they put me on cash and food stamps. But in order to keep that on, I had to go to a program. I had to wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning and be there at 9 every day, and do job search basically all day long on a computer, and go to like job readiness classes, and I would be done at 3. The thing is, I had a roommate, and she was like a full-on dyke, and I have nothing against gay people, but it's just like, really. And she was super nice to me though. Like, she took me out to lunch. She was cool as shit. And she had her own situation going on. She said her baby mother had just had her baby. So I'm like, I don't know how that works, but okay. And yeah, but I had to share a room with a dyke, and her feet stink. And one time she came in drunk, and she threw up. She was on the top bed, and she threw up over the side of the bed. None of it got on me, but it was on my bed, and it stink really, really bad. And you have to clean that shit up. She left, and then I had another dyke roommate. This dyke was like 40 years old or something like that. And she had straight backs, and she had a girlfriend that she liked to talk to on the phone all the time, and I had to hear their conversation. I'm like, ew. Monday through Friday, we had to wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning and like, not 8. We had to be out of the rooms by 9 o'clock. So, and if you weren't out of the rooms, then you get a write-up, and you can only get 3 write-ups before you get kicked out, and you're not eligible for housing. Other thing about that was, if you have any type of income, you have to pay some, like half of it or most of it to the shelter, and they'll keep some of it for their expenses, and they'll give the rest to you for when you leave as like a part of your whatever. I hated that because I'm like, I'm already homeless. There's no way for me to use my food stamps for shit because we don't have microwaves. There's no way for me to cook. You can't get hot food with food stamps. You have to get cold food that you have to cook. So it's like, what's the point of me having food stamps? What's the point of me having cash? And from giving it all to you, I need that cash to buy myself food. So I had to start eating at the shelter or, whatever. That was the hardest part, was getting food. And there would be days where I would just, like on the weekends we were allowed to stay in. And if I didn't have anything to do, I didn't have any money to go nowhere, to go see my boyfriend or anything, and I'm just sitting in the room broke and hungry, wanting to go places, and I can't. It was really, I would get depressed sometimes. Like, I would just be so depressed and bored and sad. And the only thing that made me happy was thinking about the baby. that was like the worst part I would have to say about the whole pregnancy was staying in that shelter. I hated it there. They was taking my money. The food was nasty. It was stinky homeless women, mentally ill women talking to themselves, walking around. People were stealing each other's shit. I had to tuck my phone into my bra at night so that nobody could come in and take it. And, my case manager luckily was able to, she found a place for me, and, she was like, it's a good place. It's called, basically it's like a how it's still a shelter for girls that are homeless, and they'll put you in a house, but it's a shelter, but it's a nice place. It's like a house for pregnant girls. And I was like, oh, that'd be really great. So I called them, and they said they had a couple openings, and they said, can you come in for an interview tomorrow? I said, sure. I went to the interview, talked, met some of the girls, and then they said, okay, you can move in tomorrow. I'm like, oh my God, thank you, thank you. And it's so great because this place doesn't ask you for any of your money. You have a kitchen so that you can cook your own food, a refrigerator to keep your food in, your own room, your own bathroom. So I was like, oh, this is great, this is great, this is great. So, my mom helped me. She packed some of my stuff up from my house because, like I told you when I left, I only had a few things. I only had a bag of clothes. Eventually, my mom started being nice to me again. She started letting me come back to the house and hanging out and stuff, so I would get some more stuff every time. So I was able to bring my TV up here, and, it's just, I'm so grateful to be here. And, yeah, that's basically how my story, how I found out I was pregnant and how it's been like my whole life situation. Right now, I'm going to be here for a few months until I find a place. But, yeah, I'm going to have the baby here, and, yeah, I don't plan on being here that long. I really don't. It's supposed to be temporary for like a few months, and then I'm supposed to find my own house. After this is the final step before I finally get a place. So I'm happy about that. And me and Jamir will be living with me. So it's going to be me, him, and the baby. Going to have our own apartment in nice ass Sherman Hill or Collingdale or something like that. I'm not going to be living in Philadelphia. I'm not raising my child there. So yeah, we're going to be living in the suburbs. And I'm just really happy about that. And yeah. So I just wanted to share my story because I feel like all these girls on YouTube are like, oh, having a baby by my husband, and we have money, and we have a big house and a place for our baby. Like everybody's story is like the same. And I just wanted to bring something different to the table. Like, there's plenty of girls out here who are like me that probably they want to see videos like this. And I just wanted to be different and put something else out there. So, thank you for watching, everybody, and I hope you liked it. I will respond to your comments or whatever. So if you want to, like, talk or whatever, I'm a friendly person, so, yeah, and thanks for watching. Bye.